Time Mage just does the things against everything.
Yeah. Mage's lowest win percentage, like lowest odds, is 40%.
Now, one of the things I've enjoyed a lot watching lnguagehackr over the last 2 years, in fact, over his whole career, but more so as he's become more confident, as he's grown in stature, and as he's, proved himself, is that a lot of people sort of start to rest and sort of, just take it a little bit easy with their life, maybe play a bit of Battlegrounds, maybe ask their friends for decks. lnguagehackr has got more intense as time has gone by, not less intense. Like yesterday, he's fist pumping and cheering and really, really, really trying hard to get all the way this year, I think.
Yeah, well, he's been close for quite some time now, and I think that he is one of the top 3, top 4 players that we have in America's Grandmasters right now. I can say that with a lot of confidence. And in this game, he's already got some good cards. Has the Acidic Swamp Ooze and the Ogremancer, 2 cards that are going to make life very difficult for DreadEye. All the other cards don't really matter. I guess Drain Soul can deal with minions if he plays any.
And we saw last night, like the double Ogremancer is game over because the rogue can just never deal with both of them. With one, it's going to be no fun at all, but you've already described why this is no fun at all anyway. Something's going to be no fun at all. But with 2, it was just literally the end of the game immediately.
Yep. And I like lnguagehackr not overreacting here with the Acidic Swamp Ooze. Acidic Swamp Ooze just played on the Tusk would get rid of it. Would be 1 for 1, whereas if he plays it with the Deadly Poison, it takes a little bit more damage, but then it becomes 2 for 1, and that's more damage that DreadEye can't throw on a separate weapon. There's a possibility for lnguagehackr to get even greedier with use and, say, coin out the Ogremancer, but I think getting a board presence with the Lucky Soul Hoarder first and then going on turn 5 Ogremancer also gives lnguagehackr the option of drawing soul fragments over the next couple turns. So
the other point stems from your introduction to this game, which is you've got so many things. You don't need to be greedy or careful with them. You can just use them very liberally because there'll be another good thing come along in a moment anyway. So no need to be really tight on your good cards because they're all good cards.
Yep. DreadEye here, a lot of good cards in his hand, but at the moment, desperately just trying to find a second weapon. And finds it.
Kind of sad that his Demon Hunter was banned. Because he's the only person to play Felfire DreadEye, and I wanted to say that DreadEye was playing DreadEye. That was something I was looking forward to.
Ah, yes.
Sorry.
Felfire DreadEye.
This game is in progress, I'm aware. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, that's about as good of a secret passage I think that DreadEye could have hoped for in a situation where he got oozed. Still has a big weapon.
So we're from lnguagehackr. It's not even a heal. You get in the shake of the head.
Yeah, but your opponent having a 5 damage on board already means that DreadEye could just go like Penflinger, trade with weapon and minion, and then like swindle. Alternatively, just hit with the weapon to the Ogremancer, Wicked Stab, trade over the taunt with the 2/1, and then Cult Neophyte swindle.
Yeah, Neophyte seems like a good card now. It makes Siphon Soul cost the correct amount of mana.
Yeah.
Showing how irritating these ogres are, has to take care of it. And that just saves so much damage, the fact he's had to do all this nonsense.
Yeah. So going for this play leads me to believe that DreadEye wants to hold on to Wicked Stab for direct damage to face. I will guarantee that he has more experience in this match. That is literally 4 most expensive cards. Nope, sorry. He's missing Strongman to have the 4 most expensive cards.
Yeah. Not ideal. Reminder that Jiraxxus now actually just gives you 5 armor, by the way. So it's not going to be able to heal back from 3 with it, which is, you know, a play that you instinctively think of.
Yep.
Imagine if it hadn't been nerfed. I say that to try and bait Sottle into, you know, coming back into conversations. He thinks it's a very good buff. Well, the damage coming in pretty thick and fast, but there's a lot of healing, like you said, next turn, and there are fragments in the deck as well, plenty of them.
This is brutal. More damage.
More damage. And another expensive card that doesn't heal him or doesn't do much, really.
Yeah. It's 7 mana. Yeah. He's got a Soul Shear and Drain Soul here. Oh, man.
I mean, it looked good until everything started costing 1 more, and it's just broke. All the break points are just a mess now. And if he loses this game of Hearthstone, he is in a really bad spot in this series. This was like the free win.
Yeah, at the same time, though, this deck likely would have taken a win against Mage also.
So many possibilities.
But yes, it is a matchup that he feels like he should have won. Ooh, Armor Vendor. Okay.
That helps, obviously, because he can actually play it. So, you know, of course it helps because he hasn't got anything else he can do.
Yep.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Well, that's lethal now.
That's enough.
Sinister Strike will definitely do it. I can stop counting.
Deadly Poison is 7, Sinister Strike is 10, Wicked Stab is 14. He doesn't even need to fit Penflingers. He just needs to start throwing all this burn at the face. So yeah, that's what happens when you draw the 4 most expensive cards in your deck right off the bat from lnguagehackr. He didn't hit his Armor Vendors, didn't hit any Soul Fragments, didn't hit second Ooze. Just wasn't really able to get anything done or any minion pressure. Drew Shadowhunter Vol'jin quite late. So that's can sometimes happen. That's the 10% right there. And I do think that DreadEye was very efficient with his damage. The Secret Passage play is the one play that I think was the play that would set him apart from other players, where some people will see that hand and go, oh wow, Colt Neophyte Swindle or Prep Swindle.
Right. You
know, oh yeah, I'm going to reload my hand. But in that situation, your deck is so all in on weapons. You have so many cards in your deck that really only work when you have a weapon. So aggressively prepping out Secret Passage to look specifically for a second weapon after it got oozed. That was a great play, I think. That is what won him this game.
Yeah, and I always take a look at the
drew terribly.
People in their first massive, you know, appearance and no sign of nerves or yeah, this just looks like another day at the office for DreadEye already. First time here, and if he's going to settle in this quickly over a 7-week period, he's going to pick up a lot of points.
Yeah. Still some work to do though left in the series. I think the Weapon Rogue was well positioned against maybe even all 3 of these decks from lnguagehackr to find a win. So I think that's the deck that he was worried about the least. Now it's time for DreadEye to move over to Spell Mage. I said earlier that I think this Spell Mage is like one of the best lists against other Spell Mages. Just because it doesn't run Ice Barrier or Netherwind Portal. It doesn't run Secrets, and it only runs 1 Font of Power. You just want the good cards and the spells, right? It runs obviously all the burn, double ring toss, which I think against Mage can actually be quite good when you're playing a straight up burn game, because you can get like counterspell to block burn. You can get rigged fair game if you know your opponent's going to go for like draw to even draw more aggressively through your deck, since it effectively becomes a race.
And to some degree, it doesn't matter what you get. The fact you get something matters more than what you get against the mirror to some degree, because I have to play around it anyway.
Yeah. So it's just a nice streamlined list. But we'll see how things work out. Just not having Ice Barrier in your list is pretty much what I look for when I'm looking for an anti-mage spell mage.
Double cram session. We've heard that's good in the mirror.
It is. Cram session is good in every matchup, not just the mirror. So
draws a lot of cards. And do we know what Hacker's on? Have we got Hacker's deck? I'm just having a look.
He is going to be on Rogue.
Okay, so this is one of the 3 defining matches of the week, or matchups of the week. The Rogues, Paladins, and Mages all interacting with each other. And this is one of those. And for me, this is the worst one for the Rogue. The post-Rogue versus the Mage is the worst of those interactions, I feel.
Yeah. Biggest thing is because you just don't have as strong of power turns, right? You have Morshan Watchpost, which, especially against a deck that's only running spell mage that's only running 1 font of power, it can get kind of difficult to get value out of that. And then Kargal, it's tough to make that cheap enough to dodge like Flame Strike, especially since DreadEye's even running 2 Flame Strikes. So yes, I would agree. This is the weaker variation of Rogue in the Mage matchup. But you still have Jandis, still have Kazakis, you still have Octobot with field contact, ability to draw through your deck incredibly quickly. If you can stick damage early, regardless of where that comes from, Mage just doesn't have healing. So you may be able to end the game with the Wicked Stabs and the Penflingers later on. That win condition still exists no matter what type of Rogue you're playing. Weapon Rogue, the Miracle Rogue, and Post Rogue are all playing Penflingers and Wicked Stabs. So
yep. But you use the phrase later on. There isn't a later on. Sometimes you get through your deck really quickly. Maybe turn 8, you've drawn 2/3 of your deck. Well done. But you might be facing 20 points of burn. So Jandis, finding the Jandis for me, maybe the Kazakas, but it's just badly shaped a lot of the time. The Golems, like you've said about the Postman, 5/5's not really the ideal shape against Mage right now. So you want to Jandis and get some 6 health minions and maybe make them guess wrong and then maybe bounce your Jandis and do it again. Jandis, really, for me.
Yep, that's my Hearthstone motto at the moment. Jandis. There's a lot of it, and it's incredibly good. All right, let's get into it. Language Hacker. So, oddly enough, I'm not going to even mention it. I'll just mention it, but keep in mind that this is just a small thing.
Okay.
I've been testing around with Against Mage on the play, keeping my 2/1s, Guardian Aug Merchant and Prize Plunder, because it's incredibly rare that on any turn until turn 3, right, that they're gonna answer a 2/1, right? Mage has better things to do. They're not They're rarely gonna coin ping a 2/1. They're rarely going to pass turn 1 and then ping it on 2. It's usually turn 3 with like Combustion or something or some type of combo that they're dealing with it. They're not going to Devolving Missiles it. They're going to Devolving Missiles a Farwatch Post, that's for sure.
So you're going to do 6 damage or 4 damage at least with your 2/1 before the game's even started, is that what you're saying? And then it's going to cost them damage. They might even have to ping it or something horrible. It's going to cost them additionals to get rid of it as well.
Yeah, but it also costs you something. It costs you a card in your mulligan when you're on the play and already have limited mulligan, right? Which means that you're further away from your Jandis, you're further away from your Octobot, things like that. So I would keep it if I had another good card. I've been kind of playing around with that, but I don't recommend doing it unless you have a reasonable follow-up. But against Mage, it can get in a good amount of damage because there's very little Mages that overreact to 2/1s on the coin right now.
Because I assume they're going to win because these Mages just think they're the best deck or something.
Yeah, how arrogant.
In the Americas region, we know that the best deck is Paladin. I've now called every deck the best deck today. It's great. Depending when you watched me streaming today, at any point, I've just called everything the best deck at some point. So I'm definitely right.
Good to know. So, Language Hacker did just risk the life of his Penflinger here. He did not pick up a spell that cost under 2 mana that he wanted to cast, and so yeah, his Penflinger will just bite the dust here because I'm sure DreadEye is going to go Refreshing Spring Water, and then Combustion.
So he's in on the Jandis, but also, isn't this quite clever? He's playing Jandis next turn. Do you mind if this gets combustioned if your Jandis person lives?
Interesting.
Is this
I
bait?
guess not. It's entirely possible, but I think Language Hacker was just honestly hoping that he was going to pick up a cheap spell to be able to play.
I mean, that's more likely, but I want to go down the this is bait. Language Hacker is tricking his opponent route because that's more exciting.
Okay, well now
You're probably right.
Now I don't think he even needs to use the Combustion because DreadEye picked up a Runed Orb. So Runed Orb ping, leaving just Runed Orb, play the Imprisoned Phoenix and ping.
Insta 8 armor.
Yep. Really like that pivot. Now Combustion is available for Jandis. Nice clean way to deal with it. Oh, never mind.
Easy game.
Oh, I love that. What is it? Burning Blade Acolyte? Something along those lines? I'm close.
Something like that.
Real close.
It's 8/8 Maker Man.
8/8 Make a Man? It's a 5/8.
Or whatever. 5/8, 8/8, it's the same. It kills your opponent.
It kills your opponent 3 damage slower than an 8/8. Yes. Agreed.
I wonder if anyone has ever done research into the amount of minutes people have wasted of their lives working out whether to swing or not with the first dagger charge over the course of all of Hearthstone.
A lot. The answer is always swing.
TJ has just cut out all of that messing around, just swings. Just do a point of damage to your opponent, push the 1.
Push the 1. Amen. All right. Well, now Combustion's not as clean because the illusion is certainly on the 1/1. So Jandis just honestly became summon 2 5-drops, which is an incredibly good card if you look at it in that regard. DreadEye has a lot of burn in hand, but not much else. I honestly wouldn't. Just like Ice Barrier ping the Jandis is not the worst play in the world right now. Okay, he wants to corrupt the ring tosses. No, this is smart too. Nah, because with the Imprisoned Phoenix coming out next turn, the next turn was what I wanted to use the Pexis Blast. I don't know. Everything's tough right now. I think I like this play just because it corrupts the ring tosses. So now DreadEye has the option of going ring toss plus something next turn, like ring toss plus Ice Barrier. It kind of wastes the Imprisoned Phoenix, but honestly, at this point, DreadEye is playing more of a control game until he can get a handle of the board before he can start throwing burn at the face.
It's interesting, right? Because he's changed direction 2 or 3 times correctly, I think, already in this game. The deck's just not giving him what he would like to do, so he's having to make do with what's available, which is kind of the point of the game, obviously. But he's doing a good job so far.
Yeah. Oh, and here's where that counterspell comes in. DreadEye unleashing the coin, which means that now Language Hacker is free to use his counterspell, and it will eat something up. What will it eat? Well, Neil, we'll find out momentarily.
I'll be with you momentarily. Having a moment here.
I'd probably say Ice Barrier. I like Ice Barrier ring toss or combustion. Get the Yeah, Dread said, "Wow." He said, "You pick counterspell? The heck, man."
Can't argue with that.
He picked these secrets so quickly. They are Netherwind Portal and Oasis Ally. Were the 2 secrets chosen from Ring Toss?
They go well together. We worked that out yesterday. Obviously, that was against a more aggressive rogue deck, but it's a nice little combo to get those into play against rogues, stop their weapon damage.
Yep. So now lnguagehackr sees that it is going to be Netherwind Portal, but sees that it's not Counterspell. Gets stuff to be able to dump his entire hand with. The good part about this is he can dump his hand without proccing the Oasis Ally, because he can kill both of these. Sees that it's not Ice Barrier. Pushes the 1, importantly. Always push the 1. Yeah, I'm just dumping this.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to trust your deck to find you a passage or something and get you out of this, or complete this, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, he had to think whether or not he would have needed this Wicked Stab to be 6 damage instead of 4, but honestly, I think you can just cash it in for the 4 now, just to improve the quality of draw in your deck. So nicely done by lnguagehackr. That is the second post he's played as well. That post in his on the field right now. So Cargo, I believe, will summon 2 5/5s, but at this point it's a little risky for lnguagehackr because DreadEye is playing a list with 2 Flame Strikes. So drawing through half his deck, on average, he is going to have one of those Flame Strikes. And honestly, for DreadEye, I don't even know what the play is here. Primordial Studies and see what you can get. Aegwin costs 4, and then Fireball still costs 3, so you can't play that to kill a 5/8.
That's the problem.
See what's in the box.
And obviously, you have to leave the burn plan when you start killing these minions, so you're starting to be all in on finding a Lunacy 3 turns ago, which you haven't done. So you've basically got to find Lunacy now, like immediately. Because you're not going to be on the burn plan, because you've got to burn these minions out.
Yeah, he's already used 1 Fireball. And... whoa! Setting up for a Mask of Cthulhu? Is that what we're doing? That's a little bold.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you only have what you have, but...
Yeah. I guess this does dissuade lnguagehackr from going wide on board, because this looks like a setup for some type of AoE, whether it be Flame Strike or Mask of Cthulhu. lnguagehackr not going to play the Kargal, instead going to go for Field Contact and start checking out some Battlecry things. Secret Passage will get counterspelled, because it was Counterspell and Ice Barrier that were chosen from the second Ring Toss. lnguagehackr going to keep cycling. Starting to get close here. Wicked Stab 2 turns away from being 6 damage.
And this would
Why
be...
did he kill his Penflinger?
Don't think he... Don't know.
He pointed at his 1/1 first, like the 1/1 Murloc Tiny Fin, and I was like, yep. DreadEye's probably like, this is some next level play. Oh my god. It's not.
Alright, well. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's lots of health available still, despite the fireball to the 5/8. There's every chance that a couple of these things survive.
Oh man, the 5/1 lived. Oh jeez, it's disastrous.
That's unfortunate. He set that up over 2 turns, and it still just didn't happen.
Oh man.
Got to feel a little bit sorry for him on that one. But not too much sorry, because it's Hearthstone.
Yeah, but lnguagehackr no longer has a Penflinger in his hand, which is a problem. I guess it's not a problem because he just has Wicked Stab plus a Wicked Dagger Stab next turn.
Cram session, look at this. Drawing 2 cards and blowing up a board.
Yep.
Cram session did all that.
Yep. But that'll do it. Wicked Stab to the face. DreadEye not able to piece together any type of solid strategy there. If he had hit that Mask of Cthulhu on the 5-1 and had been able to clear the board except for the watch post, maybe we're looking at a different game because lnguagehackr did kill off his own Penflinger and had used another stab. So he didn't have like that recurring damage, but just wasn't able to get the job done in that one. Sometimes that happens with Mage. He only had 1 Canter's Flow played, no deck of Lunacy, nothing else, with watch posts on the board for a large portion of that mid game, which is when you need to make those swing turns. Just wasn't able to get it done. So all tied up 1-1.
It took me a long time to realise why Mage was so good, because no word of a lie, my first 11 games, the Lunacy was not in the first 15 cards. And I'm like, well, this deck doesn't do much. You know, I was hanging in there sometimes by, you know, using my removal, but it didn't happen. And when it doesn't happen, the deck feels pretty mediocre, to be fair, usually.
Yeah, it does. It's just when you're hard mulliganing for that and in Canter's Flow, and you have so much card draw on the deck and the ability to find it quite quickly, that's where the consistency of the deck comes in. And the inability for players to play around cards like Deck of Lunacy. So I'm sure we've seen some Mage sweeps today, but they have been Mage decks that have not been running Cram Session. Not ideal lists. Those silly European Grandmasters. So now that we're in the real region, the Americas, we get to start to see these well-crafted Mage lists by players that actually know what they're doing, which is refreshing to see. And I'm sure DreadEye, because of that, will be able to take a win with his Mage at a certain point.
Honed over months and months of difficult crafting sessions at the Mage Summit, the virtual Mage Summit.
Ah, yes, the virtual Mage Summit.
Which is a lot busier, by the way, than the virtual Priest Summit, I want to say.
Yes. Infinitely.
DreadEye is going to be on the Secret Libram Paladin, the deck that I can't decide what to call it because it has Secrets and Librams in it, and TJ's agreed and just put them both in there.
Yep.
And the 4-drop is not Kazakas, which means for the first time in 2 days we get to talk about something slightly different. Carriel Rome. Not
Carriel Rome
is the main highlight of Carriel.
Luna had it in her deck as well. Luna was playing the Carriel Rome version as well. DreadEye is playing my favorite version of the deck, Carriel Rome with a Libram of Judgment. This is my favorite anti-mage version. Why I like it as anti-mage, it has Libram of Judgment, which is just 15 damage, right? Which is a ton. That's the one thing that Paladin struggles with. They're great at taking the board and holding onto the board early, but once they lose it, they have trouble dealing burst damage. And Carriel Rome is a consistent play on 4 that allows you to keep up tempo, right? It's because it'll never be dead like Kazakas. It'll always be doing the same thing. It'll always be a 4/3 with Divine Shield for 4. It's always gonna have the same effect, unlike Kazakas, which can get blocked. So, and Galloping Savior as well. I like Omayog and Avenge because I think those, if you're cutting secrets at all, Galloping Savior is the one that that I think is the least impactful against Mage.
But it's not the Mage that he's got to beat right now. It's going to be this Warlock deck, this deck that a few people did bring, but it hasn't looked like it's particularly good so far across all of the regions. Not just, this isn't just a dig at lnguagehackr or something. This is just a deck that doesn't seem to be doing that well. It's just not being very comfortable.
Yeah, I think the deck is decent, right? It was a decent option for a fourth deck in the metagame. But it just doesn't have like that huge power spike that a lot of decks have. Even Druid can have like those I win hands, right? Whereas I just don't think Warlock has those. They have I win hands that are dependent on matchups, but they take a lot of time to ramp up and get to those win conditions.
Language Hacker drew a Ticketus and like instantly like sat back in his chair to calm himself down. Because you may recall 20 minutes ago when he played this deck, he just drew all of his high-cost cards. So you see one come off the top, you're like, it's going to happen again.
Yeah. Honestly, this does look like one of those games, huh?
But this deck kind of always looks like that, and it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be. But yeah, when your opponent gets Secret Sword down very early on, and you don't have any answers to the board, things do get tricky.
Yeah, this is one of those. This is one of those snowball starts. It really does feel like it, huh?
I mean, maybe TJ, but maybe, you know, maybe, yeah, you're right. I can't maybe more out of this one. He can't even play a card now without it getting turned into something else. And then if he plays too many cards, it gets turned into a horse. If he kills something, something else gets turned into something bigger.
That's a very sticky situation to be in. I don't want anything. I don't want a bigger guy. I don't want a horse.
Definitely want your stuff to be turned into something else.
Yeah.
Unless you do 3 damage to a 3/4, then you might want it to be turned into something else. But yeah.
Yeah. Biggest thing for DreadEye here is to just not play too aggressively into Hysteria.
Round of applause. Hacker congratulating.
He drew the ooze after the last charge of Sword of the Fallen was swung. Okay, that's funny. Well, it's funny for us because
we're watching. That's
revel in the pain of Language Hacker at the moment. His draws with this deck have been chef's kiss, but the opposite of that.
We need Derek to tell us what the opposite of a chef's kiss is. It probably involves things that we're not allowed to say anyway. So maybe he could tweet it for us.
All right. Oh my God. Let's see. Pounce.
Go, hero, go.
All right. So now Hysteria can come out.
Yeah.
But Language Hacker's quite dead.
That too. He plays around Avenge, so that's you take the W's where you get them.
Yep. Well, not dead, because DreadEye does have double Penflinger in hand. There's no Libram cost reduction, and Libram Judgment is still 2 turns away because of that. But even just small minions might be able to get the job done.
Yeah, I mean, we're in hero power territory nearly, not quite, because no one ever does that unless they cost 0 on turn 1. But yeah.
Yeah.
Double.
Yeah. I just want to get these flingers rolling, to be honest.
And then you yog them so they might siphon soul their own face for 5 or something? Because that's how yog works. You just turns your card into nonsense.
I think Lever of Wisdom, just because of the mana efficiency, right? Because next turn, flinger, yog, flinger. I guess that's still the same.
Jiraxxus. Elder Lord of the Something Legion.
Erdar, Lord of the Burning Legion. Yep, you got it.
So, yeah.
You nailed it, Neil. Wow.
I know. I'm trying to keep my my inbox from Chad to a minimum.
All right. Just keep flinging. Next turn, he's got Libram Judgment. It's about all he can do.
Yeah. I like that DreadEye takes his time. Like, he's not just wasting time. He sees the obvious play and then looks for a better one, and I like this.
I honestly don't think there's a better one. I think lnguagehackr now, just because now he has Libra of Judgment plus Penflinger as lethal next turn from hand. So playing lnguagehackr now is just a disruption. He doesn't need anything else, right? He has what he needs to win the game already in hand. He just needs to try and block lnguagehackr from doing whatever he wants to be trying to get away with this game. lnguagehackr knows that he's dead unless he heals or clears the board.
I agree with you on that, but it's a good habit to never assume the obvious play is definitely 100%, because there will come a time when it's not the right play. Yeah. If you're in the habit of looking for the backup play, it's a good habit to be in.
Yeah. And that was a solid win by DreadEye. Honestly, lnguagehackr couldn't really do much. It feels like both the Warlock games have sort of been non-games from lnguagehackr's perspective. I feel like he's doing what he can. He's doing the best he can with the resources that he's given. But right now he's getting beat by his own deck. DreadEye is playing as efficiently as he can, but lnguagehackr is also just drawing atrociously with this Warlock deck. So now it's DreadEye up 2-1. He's got one deck left remaining, and I believe that is his mage. Yep. So he's got mage versus warlock, or mage versus mage. Mm-hmm.
So he's in a good spot. Is the short version of that. And the old sporting cliches: you can only beat what's put in front of you. So if the warlock draws bad, just beat it, and that's what he's doing. That's all you can do. But I do agree, Hacker's drawn absolutely terribly with that deck so far. You counted all the healing up as, I don't know if it's 6 million or 7, I lost track, but it was a lot of millions. And I think he's healed for about 4 in the 2 games combined or something.
Yeah, I haven't seen many soul fragments come out of the deck, though. He hasn't been alive for many turns to allow for soul fragments to come out. But we'll see if he can have better time with Spell Mage. Gonna shelf the Warlock again for now.
How much difference do you think it makes? I know you're a big fan of not having the ice barriers in the mirror, but does it make these 2 cards in a deck that draws all kinds of nonsense? Does it make a huge difference, do you think, in the mirror?
I don't think it makes that much of a difference, no. So if you look at the differences between the lineups, lnguagehackr has -1 Flame Strike plus 1 Combustion, and then -2 Ring Toss plus 2 Ice Barrier. So yes, DreadEye does have a slightly better lineup for the list for the matchup because ring tosses are better than ice barriers, but combustion, because it's a cheap spell, is better than flame strike in some scenarios. Outside of like Deck of Lunacy, you'd rather have like another New Grand Slam, or with, in the case of one in Canner's Flow played, another Libram of Hope. Like the permutations of Mage Mirrors changes dramatically depending on what breakpoints each mage hits. If you hit in Canner's Flow and your opponent and Deck of Lunacy and your opponent just hits in Canner's Flow, you want that in Canner's Flow to come out first so you can get Libra of Hopes, because in Canner's Flow mage the only win condition they have is burning you out, and if you get Libra of Hopes then you will not die. They don't have enough burn to get through that much healing.
It reminds me of the old Vizakas Priest mirrors, where you could have a conversation about like the finer points of playing Northshire Cleric on turn 1 for hours with anyone who played the deck a lot. Really interesting, intricate things, and it didn't matter. Like whoever drew the thing won the game. So Deck of Lunacy on 2, good. Not Deck of Lunacy on 2, bad.
Oh yeah, we got ourselves one of those kinds of games. I loved DreadEye's little smirk right as he saw the Deck of Lunacy in game 1, and then right upon the playing of it.
He's done very well actually so far to stay focused on the next game, but this is the bit that sometimes trips people up when they're first time on. I mean, he's been on streams before, but first time on a stream of Grandmasters, when you start thinking about, hey, this is the last game. All the way through this, he's been focusing on the next one, but now the next one might be, I have won. And that's where you've got to be a little bit careful to not do something silly, like not draw Deck of Lunacy. So far, he's passed the first test.
Biggest thing here is you do have to find pressure at some point, right? But every turn that goes by that language hacker is not also finding either Encanter's Flow or Deck of Lunacy is a time where DreadEye is very happy. Oh, he could go Psyche Split and Torrent or something. Psyche Split on the Firebrand and then cast a spell. I don't know. Trying to find ways to use his minions, you know? Because if he Psyche Splits and then Fireballs, then he clears the board and has a what 5/7? What a Psyche Split is it? +2/+3 in a copy.
It's oh my god. I thought it was less than that, if I'm honest, but...
+1/+2, there you go. Sorry, I knew it was weighted that way. So we'll have a 4/5, or sorry, 4/6, and control of the board.
And he's got a Lunacy deck, not a normal deck as well.
Yes. And he's playing, because he's not playing Secrets, he's playing less 3-drops, which actually hurts him in this scenario, because 3-drops turn into 6-drops, and 6-drops are where the card draw at.
It really is. Skull, Nourish, Sprint, Hand.
Yeah. So he's got less consistent card draw in his deck because he chose to run only 1 Combustion and no Secrets. So the only 3-drops he had in his deck at the time of him casting a Deck of Lunacy were Combustion, the Combustions, and the 1 Arcane Intellect. So it's only 3. So he only has 3 6-drops. At least he only has 3 chances to find that like huge, impactful draw. He does have more 7-drops though.
That Lavinda, hey, you only named 4 cards that draw cards. Yeah, but there's only 7 6-drop kids. Like, you know, you're gonna get them a lot of the time.
That's one of them.
And that's one of them.
And that's a terrible
Deck
one.
of nothing.
Yes. Encanter's fully found it. Nice.
Now he needs to draw some more cards this turn into the... Oh, he's got no space. Yeah, okay, unlucky.
So he could go Encanter's Flow, ping Devolving Missiles. That would bring the Void Trigger down to drop 2-drop, significantly reducing its power. Oh no, Blemish Soundhouse, no! DreadEye's like, oh yeah, hell yeah. I need some card draw.
Damage.
Yeah. All right, what do we got as a 1? Scrap Shot. That's straight up burn damage to the face. I'll take it. Coin's still in the hand, so you don't want counter spells. So you want Netherwind, Oasis, or Netherwind counterspell. I don't know.
The Oasis because it's late enough that 3/6 freeze might be actually quite handy, I think.
Yeah, but is your opponent like in this matchup? The minions are never attacking each other.
This is true, I guess. Yeah, I guess. They're going to burn you. You're going to burn them. And Hacker is accumulating a little bit of burn, considering that he should be miles behind by all laws of the Mage. As the Mage Summit has decreed that if you play Lunacy first, you win. Actually, because of that lack of card draw, Hacker's not in the worst position ever.
Yeah, in some scenarios, if I have a card draw, I will take the Encanter's Flow, 1 Encanter's Flow over just 1 Deck of Lunacy because cards off. Okay, cutting.
Here it goes.
That's okay. That's a survival of the fittest. And what else? Psyche Split. Eesh.
Oof.
Oh. All right. So he could Psyche Split the Astromancer Solarian, and then he can play Deck of Chaos.
Interesting.
And have a 7-mana Solarian Prime. Ooh.
See, this is why you're better than me at this game, TJ, because I look at cards like that and say, I'm going to forget this card is in my hand forever and just play with the good ones. You look at them and forget the good ones, you go, I'm going to get something out of this trash in my hand.
Yeah. Yeah, speaking of trash in my hand, DreadEye could have had a Barricade there, I believe, on the board too. Could have had the additional 2/4s. which he has survival of the fittest in hand, so that would have been kind of a big deal. Because he went cutting class, Psyche split. He could have gone barricade first and then Psyche split. His play. And again, this is kind of a big deal because he does have survival of the fittest in hand. So having a board is.
Yeah.
I honestly, I would have even done it at the end. Like, as much as it's like, pride, I'm didn't.
No, like you just got to make the most of the situation you're in when you're in it, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how you got there.
Yeah. There is maybe some merit to him saying, I played around it purposefully in case he had Flame Strike, but you have a Netherwind portal. So if he plays Flame Strike, not only is he not killing your 4/7, but you're summoning another thing. So it's actually, you want him to Flame Strike that board. So you'd rather play the barricade so you can deal with it separately.
We have had the full range of smiles from DreadEye, by the way. We've had the slightly smug smile when he started, and then the slightly pensive smile as things have started to go slightly downhill. And now, a moment ago, we had the I'm a little bit worried, but I'm going to pretend I'm smiling smile.
Why?
But
why did he do that?
what am I missing?
He could have potioned first and then survival of the fittest, and then he at least has 5/5s in hands instead of 1/1s. He didn't even barricade as well, which would have given him another 2/4, which survival of the fittest, which would have been a 6/8.
He must be so zoned in on just winning it with these. Oh,
Yeah, he just realized it. He just realized it.
Yeah, that's the different smile. See, smile number 4. This is the I'm a bit silly smile.
Yeah.
I know what TJ's on about smile. How silly am I? He's taking it the right way, though. If you're going to be on camera every week making mistakes, because people are going to make mistakes, otherwise the game would be really boring.
Yeah.
If you're going to laugh at yourself for doing them, that is definitely good attitude. I'm really impressed with DreadEye so far.
Yep. At this point, LnguageHackr is assembling the burn.
He is. There's a lot of it. It's a
Yeah.
little bit too expensive to do in one turn, but there's 2 turns worth of burn.
Yep. I want to ping here. You need all the damage you can get.
Yeah, we saw that yesterday with killing, right?
Yeah.
Slight misordering, and suddenly you've not killed your opponent from 1 mana on 24 health.
Yep.
And this is where it's turned into a pretty big deal, because he needs to kill LnguageHackr in 2 turns, and not having the 5/5s in hand, as identified by TJ.
It just significantly impairs his reload potential, right?
Mm-hmm.
LnguageHackr can actually pick apart this board. He's got spell damage. But the Apexis Blast will not summon minions because he does have a Solarian Prime in the deck. Does have some burn in the deck too.
Irritating Hig. No, too late.
Right.
You don't take it. Or do you? Everything else is garbage. But yeah.
So that's the deck.
Okay.
So he's got a deck of Lunacy already, a Freshly Spring Water, Arcane Intellect, and 2 Masks of Cthulhu and a Solarian Prime. So the Mask of Cthulhu costs 6 mana, so they would turn into Libra of Hopes. So there might be some merit to going for that, but you have no idea what. You have no idea what is in that deck of Lunacy deck. So you don't know if it's burn, you don't know if it's minions. I think he'd rather just play with his own deck in here and try and burn them out. If the spell damage minion was not dealt with, LnguageHackr was coming up on lethal. That was a lethal setup. With 1 spell damage on board, he had 8 damage from Fireball, 6 from Apexis Blast, and the 1 damage ping. So LnguageHackr did do a good job of setting that up.
Yeah, you were talking about that ping being crucial, and my goodness. He didn't actually ping, did he? He played the ice block that turn.
Yep, so now he flame strikes and pings. Oh, he flame strikes and fireballs. That means he sets up for a Mask of Cthulhu off the top for lethal because a ping would not have set up a 2-turn lethal.
DreadEye just has cards right now.
Yep, he's got a barricade. That's step 1.
Which he's had for a while.
This area is off limits.
Yeah, I'm not sure why this just wasn't played so long ago. Yeah, all of these cards should be something else right now.
Yeah, there's no reason for DreadEye to hold on to any of this. I don't think. I mean, he needs to protect himself from the Mask of Cthulhu. Deck of Chaos I like just to put the extra damage on the Crimson Hothead.
And sets up a lethal, but there's a long way between now and lethal because Hacker gets a draw at it.
Yeah. Still a possibility for Mask of Cthulhu to be lethal. If 4 of the hits go face, because it will cost 6 mana. Brain freeze.
So it's over, but he has to play on because he doesn't know that.
If he pings a 2-1, a Pexus Blast face, Brain freeze, he leaves 3, 4, 5 power on board, then yeah, he's dead.
Oh, that's an ice barrier, right?
No, I believe it's a rigged fair game.
Oh, okay.
Or Oasis. It's not. It's one of those. It's one of those that'll never proc. Right.
Right.
I think he needs to do everything. I think he needs to Apexis Blast. No, because he doesn't have burn in the deck. He doesn't have straight up burn. Yeah, that's the deck again. 2 Masks of Cthulhu and a Solarian Prime. Those are his burst options.
Oh yeah, there's a prime in there, so he doesn't get a minion, of course, as well.
Yeah. He needs to. I mean, he doesn't. Maybe he doesn't expect burn. Like Fireball is. That's a deck of Lunacy minion.
And even if he expects it, he's got to hope he's wrong. That's the thing.
Yep. That's it.
DreadEye. Group winner.
It's lethal with just the fireball, right? Unless it is Ice Barrier and I was wrong.
Find out. It's always
Oh, it is Ice Barrier. No, you're right. You're absolutely right. But does that mean the Arbor up's lethal? I thought it was one. I thought he had attacked into the Ice Barrier.
Well,
Yeah, it is. It's
lethal anyway.
exact.
I think he got an ice barrier. He took it and he played it instead of the ping on one of the turns.
He played it instead of the ping. No, you're right. For some reason, because he had dealt damage the turn before, but it was the damage from the Reckless Apprentice. He didn't play burn spell. I looked at it and I was like, oh, he only played minions, but he took damage. So I was like, there's no way it can be Ice Barrier because he took more damage. So that was my fault. It was Ice Barrier. So the Arbor Up ended up being the lethal that he needed. It's uncertain whether or not lnguagehackr gets out of that situation anyway, because Mask of Cthulhu with that much stuff on board, even if DreadEye didn't draw into lethal, would have been difficult.
Very difficult. Look how huge.
Yeah. A wide board, and he was still at 4 health. He would have had a ping as well, and that was given the 1 in 5 that he drew a Mask of Cthulhu from the bottom 10 cards of his deck. Again, another rough game from lnguagehackr, because I feel like he did a good job setting up lethals and setting up damage, right? Making sure that he cleared the board and kept himself safe, but just wasn't able to find the damage to end the game. So, and DreadEye, I think overall for his first appearance on Grandmasters showed a decent performance, right? I think he had a couple slip-ups in that last Mage game. I don't think that was the cleanest game by any stretch of the imagination, but the road game that the previous 2 wins that he had, I thought were incredibly clean and nice games to watch. So, oh, what? That's a lot of damage. Yep. And then him doing the counting of armor up through Ice Barrier, doing the +8 health, and even had 1 damage to spare with the ping. I will say, That loss has got to sting for lnguagehackr because 2 of his